Hey, good evening, ladies. I just wanted to come on here this evening and I wanted to walk through Warrior 1, 2, and 3. Warrior 1 is also known as Crescent Lunge, and then Warrior 2, which we do a lot in yoga, and also Warrior 3, and maybe even standing splits. So if you'll grab your mat and join me, we're going to start in a standing position or Tadasana or mountain pose, with our feet hip width distance apart. And we're going to talk about the placement of our feet in Warrior 1, 2, and 3. And I know some other traditions of yoga teach that the placement of the feet is together. That is not the way I learned. And also, I think it's easier on the hips to have the feet hip width distance apart. And so we're going to teach from that angle. So if you'll join me, maybe take a few deep cleansing, releasing breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth this evening. On our next inhale, we're going to lift our fingertips up to the sky. We're going to hinge at the hips for a forward bend. And while you're in a forward bend, it's always important to relax the head and neck, and making sure you keep that thigh and belly connection. And I can't do that and talk to you at the same time, but I'll hang here for a minute so you can see that forward bend. Shaking the head yes and no, relaxing, feeling the weight evenly distributed in the feet. Maybe grabbing for the other elbows and swinging side to side. Releasing any tension you feel in the head or neck. Your next inhale, we're going to halfway lift. We're going to bring our shoulders even with our hips. And then we're going to go down. We're going to place our hands on our mat as close to the feet as we can and reach that left foot back to the back of the mat in what we call a low lunge. And on our next inhale, we're going to lift our arms and torso up to the sky. And this is Warrior 1 or Crescent Lunge. And what I want to talk about this evening is the placement of our feet. Our feet should be exactly the same hip width distance apart. The hips should be even and pointing straight forward in Crescent Lunge. And so when I step forward in this position, my feet should go exactly where I left them when I was in my forward bend. So stepping back here, and essentially this position here is exactly where your feet would be if you were to take this foot all the way back into high plank. So it gives you an idea of the positioning of your feet. So torso up right here. So your feet should be equidistant apart, the same distance as they were when you started. So this is Warrior 1. You can put your hands, your arms next to your ears with your shoulder blades up, back, and down. You can place your hands at heart center, or you could even put your hands in a prayer mudra above your head. And what we did in class the other day was do a bind behind our hands, so opening up the chest and the heart. So that's Warrior 1. The next position we're going to cover is Warrior 2. And in order to go into Warrior 2, we're going to take our opposite arms and we're going to shift that back foot to a 45-degree angle. And you want to put the distribution of the weight on that blade edge of your foot, so on the outside edge of your foot in that 45-degree angle, allowing you to sink lower into your Warrior 2. Your hands are extending out to the back and over the front fingertips. And you can feel the energy coming out of each of those hands. You can also bring your hands to heart center if that's better for you. And you want to just make sure those hips are facing the same direction as your back foot, which is at a 45-degree angle. So that's Warrior 2. Our next position we're going to talk about is Warrior 3. And in order to do Warrior 3, we're going to come up on that back heel like we were in Warrior 1, and we're going to put the weight into our front foot And then we're going to simply lift that back leg even with the hips. And you can place your arms straight out for warrior 3. You can leave them at a prayer pose. You can even do a flying warrior here. Keeping your gaze just above your mat, and then coming out of that. Let's do that on the other side. We'll do that in a flow rotation so you can feel that. So we're going to start in standing. We're going to do the opposite side. Deep breath in, reaching up to the sky, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, we're going to step that right foot back on our mat. Coming up on our fingertips, and then we're going to lift the torso into warrior 1, or crescent lunge here. On our next inhale, we're going to take that back foot, drop it down to a 45-degree angle, taking our arms front and back to the front and back of the room. Our gaze is over our front middle finger, and our weight is on our back blade edge of our foot, so the back side of your foot. Hips are 45-degree angle as well. And then our next inhale, we're going to shift our weight into our front leg. We never want to straighten that knee, but distribute that for warrior 3. Making sure we keep the hips even. The toes are pointed down in the back. The foot is flexed. And we're even with the hips. We can come out straight here. Hands to heart center, or fly with your warrior 3. And if you had your blocks, or you can touch the floor, you could even go down to standing splits. Shooting that leg up to the sky, maybe even holding on to the ankle or the shin and pulling yourself together with that front foot for standing splits. And then bringing our front foot forward for a forward bend. Releasing breath here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bring the hands up to the ceiling. And exhale, hands to heart center. So I hope that was helpful. I've been trying to break down different positions for y'all and step those through to give you just a better understanding of how to set yourself up in those positions when you are in a yoga class. And if you have any questions about that, let me know.